Hi, I'm today's host, Rebecca. Last month was the International Month of Peace and Love. 20 years ago, September 11 attacks happened and caused almost 3,000 deaths. During that time, Tai Ji Men, an ancient Menpai of Qigong, martial arts, and self-cultivation, held the ceremony of ringing the bell of peace in New York City to spread peaceful energy to comfort people's hearts. Before we dive into today's topic, let's have a look at the video clip that was broadcasted by Manhattan Neighborhood Network on September 11th this year, commemorating the 20th anniversary of the September 11 attacks with love, peace, and conscience.
We would like to really start with revisiting the 9/11, an incident that really shook the world. And before we dive into the stories, we have a clip that takes us back to 2001.
Let us fill the hearts of world citizens with love and peace. September 12, 2001.
"21 years ago, Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy visited Washington, D.C. as ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
The Mayor of the District of Columbia does hereby proclaim March 22nd, 2000 as Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy Day in Washington, D.C., and we welcome these international ambassadors of peace and goodwill.
21 years later, members of Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy returned to Washington, D.C. to seek justice and raise international awareness of their situation. Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy is a spiritual group with various academies in Taiwan and the U.S. The group strongly believes that they are being persecuted in democratic Taiwan through a tax evasion indictment beginning in 1996 that reached Taiwan's Supreme Court.
Through the video, we could see not only the adults but also the young generation stand up against the illegal tax system and fight for their future. Last Sunday was the United Nations Day, a day to commemorate the apply of the UN Charter. The UN Secretary-General calls for the preservation of dignity, protection of human rights, and elimination of war. Taiwan has implemented ICCPR and ICESCR in 2009. However, there are still the abuse of tax bills and the violation of taxpayers' rights in Taiwan. With a joint response to United Nations Day, the Tax and Legal Reform League and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 gathered at Liberty Square last weekend, with thousands of volunteers in Taiwan standing out, helping the governments to correct their mistakes, revoke the illegal tax bills, and rectify the Tai Ji Men case, which was selected as a major human rights protection case in the third term's general report on the work of human rights protection of the Control Yuan. By doing so, the protection of human rights and freedom could be truly implemented. Today, we have two college students who joined the activity last weekend to share with us their opinions. First, let's invite Howard, who is a freshman in college. Howard, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Howard. Taiwan Restoration Day commemorates the end of the World War II and Japan's colonization of Taiwan. Despite the passage of time, there are still certain things in Taiwan that we have lost but have yet to reclaim, such as human rights. In Taiwan, there are many unethical officials that use taxes to gain money. Imposing taxation, which is their original responsibility, but they cover it up with performance bonuses, resulting in greedy officials releasing numerous incorrect tax bills to torment the people. Take the Tai Ji Men case, a landmark case in Taiwan's tax law, for example. The Supreme Court declared in 1996 that Tai Ji Men was not guilty and didn't owe taxes. There was enough evidence to indicate that the Tai Ji Men case was wrong, but the matter has still not been settled after 25 years. Not just the Tai Ji Men case, but also countless tax victims, many of whom have lost their families and gotten critically ill as a result of a colossal tax burden, are being prosecuted. A single tax bill can jeopardize a person's right to life and liberty. Can we just allow these officials to punish our people in this manner? I'm a university student. As a teenager, I'm particularly concerned about these tax issues. I have heard of many cases of tax victims who are desperate because of incorrect tax bills. And I'm afraid that one day I'll be the main character in those tragedies. I'm also afraid that after graduation, if the current tax system isn't fixed, I'll get a wrong and expensive tax bill, and my future will be bleak. So, in order to speak up for human rights and prevent such tragedy from occurring, I joined the volunteers in Freedom Square on October 24th, United Nations Day, to share our thoughts on the tax system's unfairness. Despite the fact that it was pouring hard that day, each of us stood and held up slogans. This was our drive to alter the government, our desire to improve the tax system, and our commitment to punish the offenders. Human rights and taxation are inextricably linked in our daily lives. People would be able to live a nice future if there is a solid tax system and human rights. When our own rights are being violated, we must take the initiative to speak up and fight for them. President Ing-wen Tsai and Supervisor Zhu Chen have declared that the National Human Rights Commission Control Yuan shall serve as the country's conscience. I hope that it is not simply a catchphrase, but that it is perfectly implemented so that the public can witness the government's dedication. I would like to urge the government to swiftly address current tax system flaws, resolve the Tai Ji Men case and other tax catastrophe cases, and provide Taiwan with a favorable tax environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Howard. Because of your courage and actions to fight for human rights, I believe Taiwan will become a better democratic country. Now let's watch a video clip from Athena, who is a Tai Ji Men dizi, presenting her eagerness and hope to end the Tai Ji Men tax case.
Hello everyone, I'm a senior in the nutrition department who will be taking the national exam next year. So now, it's the time to bring myself in literature and prepare for my future. On the other hand, I've made the decision to choose a different route. Taiwan, a beacon of democracy, that claims to have constitutionalized the international confidence on human rights in its constitution, is currently acting out a scenario in which the country is kidnapping and tortured by a small group of offended government officials. Regardless of the wind, sun, or rain, I had to work hard to complete my assignments as quickly as possible. And I had to stand out and speak out in support of everything I love, even if I was exhausted. I'm a Tai Ji Men dizi, and just like previous speakers said, Taiwan Supreme Court have found Tai Ji Men not guilty in no tax evasion. However, the tax bill has not been withdrawn. Last year, I have witnessed how the National Taxation Bureau and the Administrative Enforcement Agency abused their power to auction off our self-cultivation site. Not only the Tai Ji Men case, the Administrative Enforcement Agency has a jaw-dropping statistical data. According to annual statistics of new tax and fee enforcement cases, there were 1.89 million cases in 2001 and 14.31 million cases in 2020, which is more than 7.53 times. In Taiwan, on average, 1 out of every 2 people faces the problem of enforcement. The concern is how many unjust and false cases there may be behind this huge number. The hundreds of millions of dollars in tax incentives and performance bonuses that an NTB and the Administrative Enforcement Agency awarded practically every year could be the cause of the tax disasters. Even though more than 160 legislators eliminated the bonuses on lawful source in 2004, these offending officials still continued to use the guidelines to revive the bonuses, continue to overbill the tax and divide the bonuses. The irrational bonuses system has invariably eroded Taiwan's democracy and the rule of law, depriving its citizens of basic human rights. During our 25-year struggle, we have encountered a lot of tax victims like us, who have gone through very rigorous procedures but have no way to get help. And some of them have even lost their families, spouses, and even their lives. I admire my shifu's compassion, Dr. Hong, who, despite suffering great injustice, never lost his love for the country and the world, hoping to use his suffering to awaken the conscience of the Taiwanese people and the officials, hoping that the next person and the next generation would not suffer the same pains as Tai Ji Men, and that the people and the next generation would be safe and happy. And this made me more determined to follow my shifu. Finally, I would like to call down the offending officials. If you know you have done wrong, you should be brave enough to admit it and correct it, instead of delaying it again and again, which is not only violating your conscience, but also betraying your soul. Finally, I would like to call down the government to immediately redress the Tai Ji Men case and severely punish the illegal officials in order to make the national tax system fairer and better. Thank you all.
I'm touched by Athena's determination. Although there were a lot of alternatives, Tai Ji Men insisted on doing the right things, helping the Taiwan government correct their mistakes. Next, let's invite Lillian. Lillian, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, I'm Lillian, a college student from the Industrial Design Department. And in response to the United Nations Day, as a Taiwanese surviving in a country which declares itself as a democratic country with the rule of law, but in fact lying to the world seems abnormally ironic to me. and I had no choice but to voice out to tell the world, the United Nations, and also remind the Taiwanese government again the severe tragedy that me and my families have been through and are still going on, which is killing over thousands of people right at this moment, devastating peace and democracy, taking away the basic human rights we're all born with. For decades, few officials continue to hijack the whole country with the public power they have, as if not a single one could stop their illegal actions. So I just had to, and I knew that I must stand out and protect the ones I loved. What happened in Taiwan was like a never-ending conspiracy and persecution that lasted 10, 20, 30 years. On Christmas Eve, 25 years ago, Prosecutor Ho Kwan-ren abused his prosecutorial authority, fabricating bogus amounts, fabricating fake cases, and wrongfully detaining my shifu, brothers and sisters, for several months. Before illegally billing, the IRS did not wait for a court decision to determine the nature of the proceeds, nor did it undertake an actual inquiry in line with the law. After a 10-year trial, the criminal court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of any tax breaches and did not violate the taxation law in all 3 trials. And the supervisory court investigated twice and found that the prosecutor had broken 8 significant rules throughout the investigation process and 7 important rules regarding IRS taxation. But it didn't just stop there, and it got even worse. Last year, on August 21, they even auctioned out Tai Ji Men's land. Despite exhausting all national relief routes, the teachers and disciples were unable to avert the death of democracy and human rights for even approximately 10,000 days. Not in terms of time, but in terms of blood, tears, and irreversible lives. 25 years have passed. The media also declares Ho Kwan-ren with false witness, the manufacture of forged evidence to prosecute the shady tax evasion of Tai Ji Men on the 1st anniversary of the illegal auction. The main business of the company is to provide a wide range of products and services to the general public. The Bureau of Investigation's Urban Investigation Division, on the other hand, insisted that he just do it. Ho Kwan-ren's that Tai Ji Men is guilty of tax evasion and has been revealed to of fabrication and a setup with the IRS. And we will continue to seek international assistance in hope of ending the never-ending conspiracy and persecution through the power of solidarity. And we also hope that officials who have broken the law will admit and correct their mistakes and stop playing legal games with the people. Because human rights are more than slogans. They are the oxygen of life and the never-ending hope of all human beings. Human rights aren't just catchphrases. On this United Nations Day, Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, declared that human rights, peace, development, and opportunity never expire. And at last, I want to say that we are not jobless. We must live, we must eat, we must sleep. And these months, my dark circles are becoming increasingly prominent. And I'm sending a heartfelt and urgent call for assistance to the entire globe, asking you to be our strength, to be our power, and together we will turn this world around and preserve it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lillian. Indeed, it is very important for everyone to stand up against state violence. The Taiwan government should be aware of their errors and correct their mistakes. By doing so, the protection of human rights could be truly implemented, and all of the citizens could live in Taiwan with love and peace. Just like Greta Thunberg, who is a teenage girl and a Swedish environmental activist, once said, "You must take action. You must do the impossible, because giving up is never an option." Thanks to all of the speakers for sharing your experiences and advice today. And thank you all for joining today's forum in response to protect human rights in Taiwan. Before the end of the forum, We would like to share with you this next song, What is the Truth About the Tai Ji Men Case?
官下台，官下台。
About the Tai Ji Men case, Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of tax evasion or any other charges. The National Tax Bureau and the Ministry of Finance reneged on the promise to revoke the tax bill. The National Tax Bureau illegally auctioned off the sacred land of Tai Ji Men. The land was illegally taken into state ownership. Officials' conscience, where are justice and human rights? What is the truth about the Tai Ji Men case? Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men guilty of tax evasion or any other charges. The National Tax Bureau and the Ministry of Finance reneged on their promise to revoke the tax bill. The National Tax Bureau illegally auctioned off the sacred land of Tai Ji Men. The land was illegally taken into state ownership. Where is the rogue government officials' conscience? Where are justice and human rights? The truth about the Tai Ji Men case. Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men guilty of tax evasion or any other charges. The National Tax Bureau and the Ministry of Finance reneged on their promise to revoke the tax bill. The National Tax Bureau illegally auctioned off the sacred land of Tai Ji Men. The land was illegally taken into state ownership.